On this episode of Gadget, we've got an easier way to communicate with a desktop Skype phone from Belkin. We'd like to thank our production sponsors, the University Catholic Center, the California Province of the Society of Jesus, and Gateway. Hello, and welcome back to Gadget at thetechstop.net. It's the place where it's always time to get your geek on. I'm Father Robert Ballecer. I'm a Catholic priest in the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, and I'm currently missioned here to the University Catholic Center on the campus of the University of Hawaii. Now let's get on to the tech. You've probably heard of Skype. That's right, Skype, that telecommunications program. It was one of the very first easy to use, easy to configure, widely available programs out there on the internet that leveraged the power of the internet to bypass the traditional telcos, the telecommunication companies. It allowed us to place calls to one another from our computers, our desktops, and our laptops over the internet and, get a modicum of freedom from kind of a large, lazy, monopolistic entity that was hogging up all of our lines. Well, Skype is no longer new. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. You see, Skype has been around for so long now that we kind of take it for granted. Because the technology has matured, because Skype has worked on the way that the clients communicate with one another, because they developed their supernode cluster technology, we're almost kind of guaranteed that Skype will be around for a long, long time. We're guaranteed that there will always be that service available for us. And a whole cottage industry has grown up around leveraging that power into the latest communications devices. Now, as easy as it is to use Skype, I mean, most of us have installed it on our desktop or our laptop and use it with that easy click interface to keep a list of contacts, to allow people to call us, to allow us to call them, and even to contact people on the POTS, or the plain old telephone service network, means that it's been sort of an all-in-one communication suite. But there's an even easier way to go. You see, what Belkin has done here is they have given us the laptop or the desktop along with the client built into one power-efficient and yet kind of attractive device. This is the Belkin Desktop Internet for Skype phone. I'm saying that wrong, but it's a really long name. I'll explain that a little bit later. The idea is give you Skype on your desktop or your laptop without your desktop or your laptop. And there have been other devices like this. In fact, we've reviewed a few of them on this show, but there are a few things that stand out about the Belkin offering. Now, the question is this worth your time and your money? We've had a couple of weeks to play with it, and this is what we found out. First things first, Belkin calls this product the F1PP010EN-SK Belkin Desktop Internet Phone for Skype, which continues their tradition of having some awesome products with really awkward and unnecessarily long names. So we're just going to call it the Desktop Skype Phone. The desktop Skype phone is attractive in its simplicity and functionality. It has a 1.8-inch LCD screen above two main function buttons, a touch-sensitive circular pad controller, and all the typical buttons including call, disconnect, volume, return call, pause, recording, mute, and mic. Next to the control pad is a standard keypad, and above the keypad is the speakerphone. The handset is a simple brick design with a catch clasp to keep it docked on the phone when not in use. It has a typical swing switch for on-off hook status and is actually quite comfortable against the side of the head. Belkin has designed the desktop Skype phone for wall mounting via the two mounting brackets on the back of the unit, or you can use the included rubberized kickstand to prop the device at a 45-degree angle. Using the Belkin desktop Skype phone is quite easy. All you need is a power outlet and an internet connection. Simply flip the phone over, plug in the power and Ethernet cables, and the phone will automatically boot up and look for any Skype updates. Once it's booted, you simply set up the phone to your language and account preferences. One thing that distinguishes this unit from other Skype phones is that you can easily use a Skype account that you have previously set up on your computer, but you can also apply for a new account directly from the phone interface, meaning that you could give this phone to a Skype newbie, and the phone would guide them through the process of creating a Skype account. After entering in your Skype username and password, the phone will be able to access all your Skype functions and features, including your address book, messages, voicemail, Skype in and Skype out, as well as any customizations that you may have made to your account. Calling someone is as simple as typing in their username or choosing their entry from your contact list. The Skype desktop phone will automatically let you know if the party is available, just as if you were using the computer client. If you have Skype in or Skype out, Skype services that allow you to connect to the POTS or plain old telephone system network, then you can make and receive calls with real phone numbers. You can also check your history, set your status, add contacts, search for users, and change the settings that govern all the minute details of your Skype desktop phone, from screen brightness to ringtones. Essentially, everything that is possible from your computer can be accomplished through the phone's interface. As far as quality is concerned, our in-lab test showed that the Belkin desktop Skype phone had excellent sound quality, both through the handset and the speakerphone. However, your overall call experience will depend on the quality of your internet connection and the setup of the person that you're calling. The Belkin desktop internet phone for Skype is available online and at popular retailers for between $85 to $100. This is not the first Skype product that we've reviewed on the show. In fact, just a few episodes ago, we took a look at some Netgear products that were fantastic. One of them provided wireless Skype, and the other one provided decked Skype, decked wireless, along with a plain old telephone service port, which allowed me to have both my regular phone and my Skype phone in one unit. And as good as those were, there's something about this unit that just sort of draws me to it. I like the simple design. I like the fact that Belkin made a product that we haven't been able to crash in all the time that we've been running it. There's something to be said about a manufacturer designing a device that does exactly what it's supposed to do all the time. And I think that's what the Belkin desktop Skype phone does. Now, that isn't to say that, it's perfect. There are a few things that I kind of have bad feelings about. The first is the fact that this really is a VoIP phone. It's a SIP phone. It uses standards, or at least it can, if Belkin won't lock it down. You see, I've hooked this up to my packet analyzer, I've hooked it up to Ethereal, and I've seen the traffic that it passes back and forth between the phone and the internet, and I know that it can speak regular SIP traffic, and if it can, it means that I should be able to reprogram this so it could speak to any number of professional level voice over IP hardware platforms. But because Belkin has locked it down, they've kind of limited the potential of the hardware, and I just don't understand that. If we've already bought it, then why would you disable that? Another element, another grudge that I have about the phone is the fact that it doesn't support power over Ethernet. Even home hubs and switches are starting to have power over Ethernet. The fact that I have to have two plugs, one for power and one for the Ethernet, is just sort of, one more thing that I really shouldn't have to deal with. PoE is so easy and inexpensive to add to a device. Why wouldn't you do it on something that has to be plugged into a network switch? It would just make it a bit more elegant. But aside from that, I really like this, and I would recommend this to anyone who either wants to play with Skype or perhaps wants to set up a Skype phone and then send it to one of your relatives. At $85 to $100, you're not talking about a lot of cash, and it really is as simple to use as you just saw. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Gadget. If you want to find out more about the Belkin desktop Skype phone, you can always go to our website at www.thetechstop.net. If you click on the Gadget tab, you'll be able to find all of our episodes in high resolution. If you want to send us an email message, you can reach us at gadget@thetechstop.net. Well, I've been your host, Father Robert Ballecer. This has been the Center for Apostolic Technology. And remember, there's no Uber Geek without you. So this is what happens if, by some no fault of your own, you have technical difficulties that accidentally don't record the sound when you're trying to make your cold intro. So, I'd be saying something like, this episode was brought to you by the letter Q, the number 7, and your mama. keeping you straight since the day you was born, or, something like that.